Hello, I'm Ken Ford, and I'm the Ag and Natural Resource Educator here in Fayette County. And I'm here today to talk about our on-farm research program, and particularly the eFields program that we participated with the soybean seeding rate. And I want to give you some details about our project and some results that we were able to utilize, or we should be able to utilize from the results that we received. Just to give you some background, the soybean seeding rate here in Fayette County was planted on June 2nd. We harvested that on November 6th. The seed variety that we were able to use was Seed Consultants 734-1E, which is an Enlist product. We had 5 treatments. We placed those 5 treatments in 4 replications. 40-foot width was each replication. Each treatment, and the soybeans were planted in a 15-inch rows. We planted this project on the Fayette County Research and Demonstration Farm located at the Fayette County Airport. This is also the location for the Southwest Ohio Corn Growers Annual Field Day, which we were unable to have in 2020, but we're hoping to progress forward and be able to have a successful field day in 2021. Prior to going to the field, there's some planning that needs to be done, and it's good to have everything listed out so that you know exactly what the planter settings need to be placed at. And I like to use the color coding system here so that there's no question once you get to the field. This is just a basic Excel sheet that able to utilize and come up with the planning width for each of our different seeding rates. We started with 60,000 kernels per acre, and we moved our way up to 200,000 seeds per acre, moving that up 40,000 kernels or 40,000 seeds per increment there. And all of these treatments were randomized using the OSU Plots app that has a randomizing tool on it there. Some things that with this plot area that we utilized, there was 11 acres in this field. We actually changed directions on the field from what it was previously planted last year in corn, and due to that and getting it leveled off so that it was actually in good shape for planting, we needed to work it an additional time. The only issue with that was that caused us to dry the ground out a lot farther than what we wanted to. So when we actually went to plant this field, it was extremely dry. As we begin with this project and look at some of the variables and some of the things that affected our outcome, one thing that you will notice from this particular plot and the time frame that it was planted, we actually planted this project on June 2nd. As you can see, we pretty much lost April and May due to rain. So we started the planting season most of April and most of May. There was just little windows of opportunities throughout those 2 months to get some things planted. We did have some corn planted in Fayette County in April, but very little. And I would say that the majority of our crops were planted probably that last week of May and first week of June here in Fayette County. Once we got the crop planted, we were able to get some rain. Between the rain being giving us a little bit of a crust, as well as the crop ground being so dry, I felt like we had some emergence issues, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But as we looked in June, we did get about 3.5, a little over 3.5 inches of rain, which actually was good to get the crop started. Once we got it planted, I do feel like we had some emergence issues, possibly due to crusting. But as you can see here, um, this gives you a little illustration of the plant populations here and the density of the plants in the row. As we look here on the left side, you've got 60,000 seeds per acre versus 180,000 seeds per acre. So there's definitely a difference in the density. So at this stage in the a project like this, you can definitely see a variation in your plants. And as you can see with the soybeans, relying on each other to germinate, that higher seed count per acre, they are a little bit taller than those that were pretty sparsely populated with this 60,000. And that's kind of a skewed number, as we will see from the chart here. When we look at our treatments, we tried to set up our treatments in 40,000 seed increments. We started as low as 60,000. But if you'll notice, when we did our actual stand counts, we had quite a variation from what we actually thought we planted and what we actually had seeds that actually grew. I don't know if this was a calibration issue with the planter. I'm not sure if it was a slight crusting issue once we got them planted and we got a few heavier rains. I don't know if that was part of it as well. But we did have all the way down the list, you can see that we had quite a difference between what we thought we were planting and what actually emerged. The differences here were very similar percentage. So I'm almost wondering if we didn't have a calibration issue in getting those seeds actually planted at that population that we desired. Once we got the plant started, got our growing season underway, you can see that Mother Nature decided to switch gears on us. And July, August, and September, we only ended up with 5.7 inches of rain. Here in September, you can see that less than an inch of rain at a very critical point in soybean production, as those pods are starting to fill and they're starting to develop. Not a lot of moisture there as we would have anticipated. But as we look at our results and break them down a little bit to determine, okay, what was our optimal seeding rate and what was our highest return above seed costs. I point out here our emergence. When you look at a emergence of 34,000 here, or actual plant population, that's pretty similar to a corn population. We did receive on this population 44 bushels per acre. Some guys would be happy with that on some years, but on land that should produce 50 to 70 bushels on any given year, that was definitely on the lower side. But as you look at our seeding rates here at 132,000 to 160,000, and if you also compare that to some of the other research projects that are in the eFields book for 2020, there's a lot of those that their highest returns above seed costs were around that 130 to 160,000 seeds per acre. As you can see here in our project, even though we were shooting for 180 to 200,000, I guess I'd look at the actual plants that emerged. So that's what we were dealing with. And we ended up with results here that was very similar to results from several of the other projects within the book here. And then we ended up with average yields on those at 63 and 65 bushels per acre, which was pretty average, above average in Fayette County for the fall of 2020. And then if you take that a step further and we look at our return above seed cost, in most of these projects, we're trying to show that 200,000 is almost too many seeds to be planting. But in this case, if we look at this and hopefully have a more accurate seed versus emergence number, that 160,000 here returned the most money per acre above seed costs. So results then came out, even though we were dry, even though things started out a little rough due to the extra working of the field and things like that. I still think we had results that were very comparable to the other parts of the state. And this is something that you yourself will have to look at when you are evaluating seeding rates for your own farm. Some farms, based upon soil type and soil fertility, might be able to handle higher numbers of seeds per acre to receive a higher yield. But as costs continue to rise, seed costs is one thing that we're hoping that you can minimize to be able to maximize your yield. So hopefully you can reduce those costs to maximize your yield or your profit. So that's the project here in Fayette County. If you have any questions at any point, you can feel free to give me a call. My information's here. And I appreciate you guys tuning in today. And I hope that you guys have a safe rest of the winter and a very productive spring of 2021. Thanks.